everyone, and welcome to a brand new edition of the Fans of Power podcast. I'm Tyler Baker, and with me, as always, is the Rotten Amato, Joe Amato, and Nasty Nate Kennedy. I don't know how long Nate will be with us this evening, but I think he'll join us for some of the early festivities on this particular episode.
Yeah, we'll talk about. I'll be here for the reveals and all the cool stuff. Then once you guys get into the comics, I'm bouncing so I can finish this shelf and setting up figures.
Yeah, there was a lot of stuff with figures being shown, this weekend. And, boy, we were probably 30 seconds away from if we would have started live. I set something up in back of me in the background. It was something that somebody sent to me. And I was like, hey, I'm going to just open this up live and show everybody. And it just fell, but everything will be good. But, my God, if that would have happened live, it got me all paranoid. Oh, too jumpy. Sorry about that. But let me quickly acknowledge who we have in the chat room. Delva78, Zentron, New Adventures He-Man, Louis Ashadina. I think that's how it is. And Louis, this is the person that I want to show that sent me something as well. Zen Brown, I think I said Ashadina right, so I hope I got your name right. Grimbot is here. MOTU Matt is here. I'm still scrolling. 1 second. JD Gibson and Tags Media Animations, Kevin Sharp. So, bam, I think I got everybody. Quickly, I just want to show this. I was like, I didn't even really want to open it because I was like, damn, Louis, you did some cool-ass art on this. The art was so cool on the package. I was like, almost don't want to wreck it, so I'm going to try to be careful opening it on the back because I don't want to mess this up. He had a cell that he wanted to send me, and I'm starting to take your advice, Tyler and Nathan, to where you say, Jesus Christ, Joe, if somebody wanted to send you something, quit being an ass and saying, oh, I don't want it or something. I mean,
it's about time.
Yeah. I was starting to say, Joe seems very enthusiastic about a gift. Like, he's not being an asshole about it. He's just like,
I ain't.
Wow, this is great. He's being a human being about it.
He's turned a new leaf, and there goes the tablet.
It's the new tablet.
What the hell is going on? It's the Blair Witch Project.
Hold on,
I
got it.
We're going to see Joe standing in the corner here in a second, and someone's screaming.
Okay. Sorry. God damn it.
Those of you that have your Fans of Power bingo, go ahead and place your marker on Joe knocks all of his shit over.
I won't knock anything else over. And Fedmon.
We didn't plan this, people. This is real. This is real turmoil happening.
Yeah, no. Right before we start, it's like, now, Joe, you gotta make sure you knock something over. That's what the people want you to do.
God damn. No, I was trying to be careful. And Fedmon and who else was there? Your favorite blockhead. Thank you for joining us. But no, I was like, like you said,
why didn't you just cut it open with scissors? That would have been easier.
Because I would be scared of wrecking anything. But, you guys always said, I could be hurting somebody's feelings by actually saying, hey, don't send it to them. And I never intended that. So it's like, if they wanted to be nice and do something that's cool. So he had a cell he wanted to send me. And I said, I really appreciate that. And I'll open it up live. So let's see what this one. Oh, I like that shit. Hold on a second. I apologize. It is first. Damn. See, and I'm going to knock something else over. I can feel it.
Joe is full of 4-letter words tonight. I've never heard him curse this much before.
Well,
I don't care. I think it's fine.
Well, this is pretty cool. It's like an Orko cell and also like a little Orko sketch that was in back of it from the cartoon. I'm hoping that is it showing up or am I?
Yeah.
Not.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you get the pencil and the actual painted cell itself. Yeah.
Yeah. Damn it, that's pretty cool. And Tyler, would you happen to know what episode that might have been from? Does it look familiar?
Not right off. I mean, it's kind of one of those motions of I could not tell you that one right off. No.
Well, it looks really cool. It's like It looks like he's on shrugging shoulders. But Louis, thank you very much, man. I appreciate it. And along with the one that Eric Amon sent me, and I was like, what are the odds that Eric sent me something? Now that I had no clue about what he was going to do, but I was like, now I got a couple cells, and it's stuff I never really had were cells. So I wanted to, of course, I thanked Eric, but Louis, thank you very much, man. I appreciate it. This is I'll treasure it. I'll never get rid of it, and I'll frame it up. So thank you. And there, I wanted to do that live.
Do you have a habit of getting rid of people's gifts they give to you? Like, I won't get rid of it. Like, as if, like...
Well, I always want to let people know because I know sometimes some people think that, maybe when they send something to somebody, that person might be, hey, thanks. And then just, I'll get rid of it. I'll sell it. But I never do that. Anything somebody sends me, I'm going to keep. Just like
you really think Joe's going to... I imagine Joe never throws anything away. Like,
I don't.
Yeah, well, no, I'm saying there's probably like old, like Big Mac containers from the mid
Sneakers from
'90s.
middle school.
Yeah, he's like, one day this will be worth something, but
Yes, I can customize these old Nikes from 1997 here.
Wouldn't it be terrible? Now, I won't go that far, but like this too. I mean, that's beautiful art you did, Lewis. I'm not getting rid of that as well. So
no, that's awesome. Yeah. That's really cool.
That did a damn good job. So thank you, Lewis, very much. But all right, well, I wanted to pass it off to Tyler, Nathan, whoever wanted to start with anything else. But again, thank you, man. That's much appreciated. Oh, wait a second. Grim's asking me what number is next to the MU. Hold on a second. It says MU 71. And then there's a dash, and it says 224. So Grimbot, if that helps, hopefully he'll be able to figure out what episode.
I'm assuming that's like episode 71. That's probably what that constitutes as. I'm just guessing there on that one because some cells I could actually, some of them like I can tell what that's from, but others like it's used multiple times. It's kind of hard to pinpoint sometimes. So.
Oh, see, I mean, like I said, since I'm new to this, I've never understood what any of these numbers meant. But okay. All right. Well, all right. Maybe episode 71. I'm sure Grim will back it up, but I guess that has some logic to it. So thanks, Tyler.
Me and tell me, Tyler, you're full of shit, man.
He's like, nope, you're wrong about that. But go ahead, guys, if you were to start off.
Well, let's go ahead and talk about an exciting weekend at the Toy Fair. It's not just Masters. There were a lot of things that Tyler and I saw that were like, all right, well, if all of this is coming out this year.
Then we say coming out, not just, like I told Nathan yesterday, not just, we want to do this, but then they get we lost our licensing. So all those great toys we showcase, you're not getting any of them.
But a lot of cool stuff coming out this year.
Yeah,
oh man, between the turtle 2-packs that are going to start showing up at Target from the '90s cartoon, we finally get like a Shredder that looks awesome, a Bebop, a Rocksteady. But we're here to talk the Masters, so. Tyler, I know that this was probably one of the greatest days as far as like the toy line for you. It has to be with the classics.
Yeah, this would be the moment we would cue the Ric Flair music and just kind of let it play for like about 30, 40 seconds, and I could do like a turnaround kind of thing. Because, yes, after all these years, it's I mean, to quote Skeletor, I would, everything comes to he who waits. And by God, I waited a long time for this. So to get the live action versions of He-Man, Skeletor, God Skeletor in the proper colors for Karg, it was just like, because I remember Axel sent it to me at first before because I was eating breakfast at the time. And he sent me that. I said, holy shit, is this like legitimate, or is this like, some like, well, this is mock-ups or something like that, and like, no, that's the real deal, dude. And then I look on Facebook and, it was like an explosion of boom, 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 boom. I'm like, oh my God, like we're really getting movie figures finally.
And Karg in a proper color.
Yeah. I mean,
so I went ahead and canceled that pre-order from Big Bad Toy Store because I was still waiting on that. And I'm like, well, never mind. Save me the money. So thanks, Super 7, for that at least.
I'm just glad I had something nice to say about Super 7 reveals for a change. I feel like it's been a long time since I've had something nice to say, and it's like, not only to have something nice to say, I'm like, here's my money, just send me my damn figures. I'm not saying anything here, people. Just send them along here because I'm super ecstatic, and if this is one of those things where there's no payment plan for those 4 figures, I will make sure, no matter what, I will get those, and they will get a prominent, probably separate spot from the rest of the figures. Like those movie figures have got to be displayed very prominently. So they're going to get special treatment. They're going to get VIP treatment in the Cave of Power here.
It was so awesome to see. I mean, just weeks ago, I remember when somebody asked me, hey, Joe, what are some of the reveals you hope to see at, Toy Fair? And I was like, man, in a perfect world, I'd love to see movie figures announced, and we'd see He-Man, Skeletor, and God Skeletor. And then, bam, of course, those happened. So I got some messages like, did you have insider info? And I was like, no, I didn't. And Tyler already knows. Even if I could get it, I wouldn't want to know it because I don't like spoilers. But seeing them finally happen is amazing because, yes, we've had Karg that was through a loophole through a magazine. See, some people thought it was the Star Marvel comic. No, that's not how that loophole happened with Karg in those different colors. It was from the Masters of the Universe magazine that had the comic with that color. That's how that loophole happened with his different colors. But yes, finally to have the movie colors, to have movie He-Man, to have Skeletor and God Skeletor. those will be great. I mean, those, like I've said, I haven't bought figures in years, but I'm buying those four. I'm getting
Holy
those.
shit balls!
Yeah.
Like you heard it. Joe has decided to clean the moth out of the wallet and put something in there that he can use.
Well, until someone in the chat's like, "Don't worry about it, Joe. I already pre-ordered them for you. Don't worry about it."
Yeah, and then Joe's turned over his leg like, "Oh man, I'm being showered with gifts." And he's rubbing gifts all over his chest and everything, and bathing in gifts. And oh no, you guys shouldn't have done this, man.
But on the other hand, as awesome as that is, and it's already been brought up in the chat, $600 for Snake Mountain. That's kind of like
absolutely not, man. No way.
Yeah,
that is a month rent from me, dude. I just, even if it's $100, like a month. I mean, it's just one of those things. I feel like $600, man. $600, man. I mean, it's
a chunk. I think we all knew it was probably going to be 500 or more. But yeah, when it was announced at 600, where they're doing a payment plan for 6 months, so you're right, 100 a month. And of course, with tax, it'll be more, and especially international fans, a lot more. And I've always said, yes, if you have the money and you have the room, hell yeah, more power to you. I hope everybody can get it, but. I can't get that, and even if I could afford it, I don't think in my room I could even have space. But it's going to be a sight to behold. Hopefully it'll have a lot of big extras in it. All the things that were shown, before about all the thrones and all the extras and the sculpted pieces of other stuff or whatever. Hopefully all that's going to be added for that, and nothing will be taken out. But I put it on my wall, as I always like to do, and it was kind of a 50-50 of people saying, no way, I can't get it, can't afford it, too much. Some people saying, hell yes, I'm going to get it. So, I mean, it's great. It's and I think they said, is it March or May when they were going to start taking pre-orders? I can't remember the month.
I know the movie figures were March, I was like, I wouldn't even bother to look for Snake Mountain.
Yeah, I mean, it's great to know that they're doing it, though, and that it will happen for those who wanted it. And it's going to be much bigger in Castle Grayskull, because a lot of people were like, why wasn't it the same price as Castle Grayskull at around, was it $250 at the time when Castle Grayskull came out? I'm trying to remember back.
I remember it was about $300, yeah.
Oh, was it? Okay, so it's
and it was close to Christmas time, so I just felt it was the worst possible time to be docked that kind of cash. And I knew it was going to be a lot, but $600, man. I mean, it's
a monster. It is a lot bigger in Castle Grayskull.
It is, but it just feels like, dude. It's just one of those things. Like, because you pay all that money for all those illustrations, but I never paid $600 for an illustration. It's just kind of a scary thought to think of putting over $600 for.
Maybe if Snake Mountain looked more like Tyler's face, he would pay $600 for it.
Nah. I need a lot. I need a much bigger play set to really, facilitate the greatness of that facade.
Yeah, it would have to be the size of an actual house.
Pretty much at this point. Then I could justify $600 for that. I'll make that happen. Payment plan.
Yeah, it's a whopper. Quickly, JSP and Curtis Ackerman, also thank you for joining us. And Spider Rat, somebody new, so thank you for joining us as well. But it's like we said, it is gigantic. I mean, it's a lot bigger than Castle Grayskull, but like you said, even for somebody that maybe can, let's say, budget it to where they can afford it, you also, like you said, you have all the figures, not only the classics, things that we've seen that people have to buy for the movie figures, but any of the Filmation styles in classic style, also the 5.5 inch. And then it's like they're not done there. They still showed a lot more for those who love the reaction figures. They showed a nice new set of those. There's going to be multiple different versions of Modulok, which I was like, okay, I haven't bought a single reaction figure, but I have to buy Modulok, so I'll be getting that too. So Joe's actually going to be like cracking open this imaginary piggy bank that he hasn't used in a long time.
I just imagine Joe's probably got, because my parents do the same thing. I bet he's got like big, huge ass pickle jars full of quarters and nickels.
He's like, what's
he walks around the town and just picks up any loose change. He's been doing this for like 25 years. He's got just big, huge pickle jars full, and now he's finally gonna crack them open and
go to his local Kroger and go to the coin store and just dump haul in a wheelbarrow of all these glass jars.
You know how cheap I am, though. The thing is, I don't like those coin stars because they take a percentage, so I actually will roll up my money.
If you do gift cards, then they don't do that. If you want straight up cash, then yeah. I remember one time I took change in there because I always do the Amazon gift cards, and I dumped that in there. picked the Amazon gift card, and then it glitched and didn't give me the shit. And I was like, it didn't give me this. So like, well, do you want cash? I'm like, yeah, just give me. I was so pissed off. I haven't been to Coinstar since, actually.
I wouldn't use them. I'll roll everything I got. And yes, I do excited if I see a dime or a nickel on the ground, I do pick it up. I won't pick up a penny, but I'll pick up dimes and nickels. I mean,
hey man, pennies add up too, Joe.
They do, and I should probably get them. But yeah, so they showed, like I said, they showed all the stuff we talked about. They showed all these reaction things. They showed some Halloween buckets of multiple different kinds of brands, including the He-Man and the Skeletor one. But the other cool things is seeing that they're doing not the Toxic Avenger from the movie, but Toxie from the cartoon. They're doing him. Yeah, which is cool. They're doing him in classic style. And they even showed a Voltron. Now, Voltron is not muscled like classics, but they wanted to put it in scale. So they're doing a Voltron. But also the other cool-ass news that you seen off to the side, it said coming soon, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in classic style. I was like, Jesus Christ, look at all this stuff they're doing. So I can't imagine what they're going to look like, but I bet you those will look badass next to all them classic figures.
I mean, it makes you wonder, and I haven't listened to anything that Brian said about it. I just kind of have just looked at the pictures, and that's really about it. I am curious though if Turtles Classics is going to be like that's what they're going for, is that we're going to do a line based on like the vintage line / cartoons and make characters in scale with He-Man classics. We have Leonardo and He-Man sitting next to each other, or Raph and Beastman or whatever. And that we're going to get Casey Jones, we'll get Scumbug, Chrome Dome, Toka and Rezon, Triceraton, Slash, Groundchuck, Dirtbag, Tattoo, Pandacon, that kind of scenario where you're going through this awesome lineup of, or is it just, I'm curious, like, because I feel like with NECA doing their versions of the class, because we're getting, classic cartoon figures of them right now coming down the pipeline. So I'm like, what is Playmates License Super 7 to do? Like figures in that size, but are we talking going back and giving us classic characters, or is it just a small group of the Turtle, Shredder, Splinter, and that's about it?
I think they might stick with maybe the basics we've just seen in the 80s cartoon, maybe just the typical basic figures. Maybe we'll, like you said, of course, the initial Turtles. Maybe we get April, you get Casey Jones, get Shredder, Splinter, Bebop, Rocksteady. I don't know how much they dig into anything else, but maybe they would just test the waters with that. Possibly. I don't know. I don't know what they would do beyond it. What about you, Nathan? Any thoughts of what you think they might do? But
I would see him playing it safe and just sticking to like the basic stuff. Maybe if it does well, but would anybody be, aside from a few people, Tyler included, be clamoring for like a Dirtbag figure?
I mean, who the hell?
I'm just saying, like, you got to think in terms too of when people think Ninja Turtles. I feel like maybe that fan base isn't as hardcore as Masters in that regard.
Oh, I would probably argue that they're probably more hardcore fans of Turtles than there are He-Man at this point, because Turtles is still relative in the public eye. That's why I feel like with Turtles you could get away with. You do, and like if wave one is 4 figures, so you get Leo, Raph, Mikey, and then throw in Triceraton. You could kind of mix it up there because Turtles is so popular right now that you wouldn't have to we got to go like with He-Man. It's always He-Man, Skeletor, He-Man, Skeletor, He-Man, Skeletor, He-Man, Beastman, Skeletor, He-Man, man. It's just like the same damn 5 figures over and over again. I feel like with Turtles you can get away with throwing a Pandacon or a Mondo Gecko into like the first wave, and like we can spice things up and then not just be the same, characters over and over again. Because to me, I feel like that's going to pull in interest, that they're mixing it up, And I mean, obviously, you would, to be safe, when you give us, the core characters within the first 2 waves, but throw us a curveball. I mean, do you guys not feel like that's relative? If with Turtles are going to be coming along the same brand as classics, why not? And I guess I'm also thinking from how I think. I don't know what Joe's concept is on the mythology of Turtles and like all the variety of characters. Is it pretty much just the basics?
Well, I mean, the chat seems to be in agreement with you as well. Okay. For me, I guess I never really when it comes to the classic 80s cartoons, like, yeah, Turtles is up there, but in terms of what I see people gravitating more towards, it's always more of, especially in this, it's more like Masters, Transformers, and Turtles is sort of like, all right, well, this is, because it seems like most of the time when people were getting into Masters, especially at a certain age, by the time Turtles came around, maybe they were a little too old for it, or were in that weird space where like, I'm too cool for cartoons, and they don't hold it as in high regard like Tyler and myself would, because that was more the big boom for us when we were younger. I don't know.
Well,
I'm just talking out of my
that are
ass
like
over
they
here.
don't even know who Scareglow and Ninja are, and they shit all over them.
Yeah.
Which is said. No, quickly, I just want to say hello to Chris Owens and also to Sportibus. But no, you're right. A lot of the people my age or slightly older, they stopped Masters, and like you said, they're like, "Who the hell is Scareglow? What's a blast attack?" And like they were just pretty much out after a certain point in that line. And some might even have been out and around when Turtles came out. But no, I know the Turtles fan base is rabid. I mean, they'd go nuts probably for anything that would be made. So yeah, I mean, guaranteed you give some of the off characters that maybe not the the casual fan would know or something. I still guaranteed the Turtle stuff would go nuts. But I know that they would probably want to definitely give us the 4 obviously core characters.
Oh yeah.
Then throw in, then you got to get in the main villains. Then maybe sprinkle. And see, that's the thing. When you'd want some of the other characters that you're speaking of, Tyler, are the ones that maybe you think, oh, could this be a sell or would be a hard sell? That's probably when, unfortunately, they might give a turtle variant color along with this. That's the only way they might be able to. It's just
I told Nathan this yesterday, because my first thought was like it was awesome. Then I was like, oh my god, like how are they going to get overloaded with, because they're doing Turtle Classics? Does everyone remember how many ungodly amounts of turtle variants there were in the original run? You're like, son of a bitch, are we going to get
Farman Michelangelo?
Yeah, or Basketball Don, or Olympic shot put Raph, instead of, why aren't we getting Ray Fillet? That's what I was worried about, because I know Super 7 they love their variants to death, and but what I'm saying is like it doesn't even have to be that far, like because I like Dirtbag and Ground Chuck. Those are some of my personal favorites, but I also feel like a Ray Fillet. Both of you guys know who Ray Fillet is, right?
Yeah, Monty Moose, or I Riot.
Could we get Scratch and Hotspot? Do you think that would happen?
Honestly, I would be cool to all those characters, because I feel like if we're gonna do this, do it like we did with He-Man. Give us the more obscure characters, and just because you got a niche group of people who bitch and complain, I don't know who they are. It's like, well, who gives a shit? It's just like there's a bunch of us that do like that character, and how can you argue whether you don't know? I mean, Scratch and Hotspot, yes, they are. That's the Dalmatian firefighter, right?
Yeah,
yes,
Scratch is like
yeah. Well, granted, they don't look that great back then, because that was like the tail end of the line. They look like play school toys. But if the Horsemen or whoever's doing this, I'd imagine that they would look pretty awesome in classic style.
I do have a funny story about Scratch. Actually, I was in town, and there was a new consignment shop that had opened up, and I went in there, and I was and they had this like a bucket full of figures. And I'm digging through, and I was like, because by the time Scratch and all those guys came out, I wasn't buying turtle figures anymore. But I have heard of Scratch. I've seen the prices on eBay, and I'm digging through there, and I was like, holy shit, are you serious right now? And I bought a Scratch in my hometown, which is just, you wouldn't, a Scratch just showed up $1.
Carded or loose?
Oh, it's loose. If it was carded,
still valuable.
Yeah. Oh, I know.
Yeah.
I paid $1 for it, and that was like, damn. It's sitting in a tub somewhere.
Yeah, so
that's how you treat Scratch. You threw Scratch in a damn tub. You need to put him out on a shelf.
Well,
now you know what I've been dealing with.
Scratch though, man. Like those figures towards the end of the line were just like.
So this is what Tyler, like he just said, what he was talking about. You get all the stuff in the world, instead of showing it proudly or something. It's like, this ain't nothing. I'll throw this $800 figure. Just throw it in the tub, put it off the side. Nobody needs to see this shit.
Tyler and I actually went to my parents' house, because that's where all my comic books are, because I'm just keeping them there for safekeeping. And we dug through them today just to figure out what I should take when we go down to an actual comic book convention and get them graded. And there was one that I knew about that I had that I paid $25 for. And Tyler's like, do you know what this is? I was like, yeah, I paid $25 for it. He's like, you know how much it's worth now? I was like, sort of, but not really. And then we started looking at prices. I was like, oh, okay. Put that in the pile. We're getting it graded. So
God.
There we go.
We found a small fortune. When I say fortune, I mean fortune of books that if Nathan gets those graded. You know,
Hey,
he can
props,
afford to buy a couple of Snake Mountains. I'll just put it that way.
props to
All the treasures.
from one book though. A couple of Snake Mountains from one book.
Yeah.
Props to
Just
my
from
dad.
Look at it, he's just from one book. You wouldn't want to see the other stuff I have.
No, props
Tyler,
to
Joe?
my dad though, because when we would go out, anything that caught his eye, he was like, "All right, I'll pick this up." And this is like late '80s to early '90s, just anything that was coming out, a number one of something. He's like, "All right, yeah, Spawn, yeah, that's cool. Let's get that. Let's get the first few issues of Spawn, okay." Just other stuff too, like the Spider-Man. Spider-Man 300, I think. Spider-Man 300, I think he paid like a couple bucks for.
Yeah,
back in the day.
and this is why Nathan doesn't worry about money. Not only does he have a ton of it, but it's like, hey, I got all this that I could sell. He could retire. He'd be set for
I'm never
life.
going to sell that stuff.
No,
but I also need a bigger place to prominently display.
Yeah.
Joe, so one of your things. Joe, buy a new place.
Joe, I promise you, when I get a bigger house, I will prominently display my Scratch Ninja Turtles figure.
You want to hear one dorky story? Here, sure. Speaking of Scratch, Scratch is the only Classics figure I ever made for a Ninja Turtle. I didn't make any Ninja Turtles in Classics forms, but years ago, I made Scratch out of all damn characters in He-Man form in that Classics body.
You chose to do that, or someone paid you for that?
I chose to do it and sold it, so it was a fun.
You tried to pass it off as a real one, didn't you?
No, because it was Classics. No, I did it in Classics.
Oh, you did it in Classics form. I could just picture Joe like molding and sculpting like an actual Ninja Turtle size. He's like, this is the real deal, everybody.
It's got like Play-Doh on the face there. Like the
it's just drooping off.
Yeah.
Looks derby.
Like one prototype. It made it out of Hong Kong, and I got it, man.
Right.
Some guy in Back Alley.
But I really don't. I don't do molding and casting. But this was years ago when I still would put stuff on eBay before all I started doing was just commissions, and that's how I do it now. But I was proud of that face and that head, so I might show that later on, sometime after the podcast. I'll show it if people hadn't seen that in years. I did an old Scratch, and I was kind of proud of it.
How do you pick Scratch and not do Slash or Casey Jones or Leatherhead?
Not a clue. I did do Kirby. If I'm getting the name right, there was that fifth turtle that was thought about to be done. There was some whole something I read about an article, and they drew and showed him up, and he had these he almost looked like maybe an original version. I don't know if he was before Slash or was an idea of him, but I swear that was the name was Kirby, and I did him in vintage style, and I made that years ago, so I did a Kirby, but that was in I think that was another eBay one. This is when I was just testing the waters with all sorts of different things.
You pick characters that are, Joe, you needed me as your agent. I swear, man.
But it led to more commissions.
Though, then I decided to make Irma because the world was clamoring for a new Irma.
Well, the thing is, when people were seeing that Kirby, a lot of people freaked out, and it led to more commissions of Kirby and other figures. So that's why I always try to test the water with other things just to lead to more commissions. I always wanted to be known for the person that doesn't do the typical same customs over and over that you can see hundreds of people doing. I'll pick something to like, what the hell? Like, wow, that's cool as hell. So,
Why didn't you do Ground Chuck?
If you want, you can pay me. I'll do one. I'll do it.
Of course, yeah. Yeah,
you pay me, I'll do it.
A good idea. You're like, oh, you pay me for that. But like all these, like I'll do Vern, from Channel 6. People want Vern.
Make him look like Will Arnett though from the shitty movies, please.
Oh Jesus! But
no, there's a lot of potential to be had with the Turtles line. I hope to God there's a prototype or something that says like this is what we're going for, and hell, I would do a subscription for Turtles. Like if that was something. Because I'd like to think that it's unfortunate that He-Man doesn't have that same star power as Turtles right now, but I would sign up if Super 7 was to like, hey, look, we'll do like what Matty Collector did, like 12 figures or 6 figures a year. I would sign up for a subscription.
I would
get a sub exclusive.
Yeah,
like I would love to do Turtles in classic form like this, and get like maybe
half court, the basketball draft.
Yeah, Baskeraf,
Jurassic-ball.
Yeah.
I hate this.
Yeah.
Kids are dumb, right?
Reference to like this old YouTube video that was mocking the turtle toys from back then.
Farming Michelangelo for the kids with an even temperament.
Yeah. Joe's like,
Yeah, I never. Yeah, I don't know that, and I never, like I said, collected any of the turtle figures
we're not making those up. Those were real turtle figures.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh dear God!
Yeah.
That many variants. I always heard
Yeah.
there was tons of variants in like an astronaut versions and other stuff.
Yeah,
But
all kinds of
Jesus.
shit.
Yeah.
Hey
Wow.
kids, look at this shit.
Yeah. So
That's funny.
That's what I'm hoping.
That video's up, but the audio is not on there anymore in any version that you click on. So I wish someone would re-upload that because it was actually really funny. If you guys in the chat have seen what was it, the last TMNT toy commercial or something
that's
like
what
that?
It was called, yeah.
Yeah, and it was funny.
It was worth their time, but I do feel like if they're doing this, I think they need to do it like a subscription plan for like 6 figures for the first year to guarantee the Halo people like this. I would sign up for 6 figures and 1 sub exclusive. You know, like a Tokon Razor 2-pack is the sub exclusive. If you do this, you know, you pay a fee or I don't know. I just feel like there's so much potential with Turtles in Classics form. And I think
because I even wonder if, I mean, I know that they basically do it when you get the 4 figures for the classics or the collector's choice or the Filmation style for the 4 those style figures. You have to get them all together. So I could picture, like, let's say if they didn't do 6 and they did 4, and of course, yes, we just got the 4 Turtles, but then later they said, okay, you're going to get Splinter, you're going to get Shredder, you're going to get April, you're going to get Casey Jones for another 4. Or if in, again, another perfect world, let's say Turtles came back to PowerCon, because remember at one time wasn't PowerCon, it had Turtles, Thundercats, and Masters
and She-Ra.
So it had She-Ra. I mean, what if maybe possibly Turtles return to that, and then with that being said, maybe there could be exclusives for PowerCon, because you know how there's a lot of exclusives in that manner too. So I mean, there's a lot of outlets and venues they could do this, make these, but it'd be curious to see. But I guarantee I think they would sell very well. So I guess here's crossing your fingers, because there's so many things. I guess they've been listening to fans at least talking about there's so many great things out there that could be done in that classic style body. So maybe that could lend itself to maybe Black Star, Brave Star, Sectars. Maybe other things could happen in the future. I mean, you never know.
Oh man, yeah.
I mean, Brave Stars in classics form would be fantastic to get those guys.
It would. And just like Zen Brown just said, any thoughts on the Conan figure? I forgot about that. I
want it right now.
Yeah, which is cool. And yes, this isn't, based off of the movie. This is from the comic Conan. Yeah. So, and I think he came with 2 different
comics.
Yes, and he has 2 different heads. He has a somber looking, just blank expression face, and then he has an open mouth face. So that's cool as well. I'm glad he brought that up. I was like, I completely forgot about Conan. Thanks for that.
There was just so many things that were shown.
And I'm hoping that based off Toxic Crusaders, I told Nate, it's like, I hope we get, Junkyard, double, head.
I was like, don't do that. I already bought them all.
Radiation Ranger, Dr.
I
gotta have all.
Yeah, that would be awesome. God. It would. You know what? Do it, because I have all the other ones, and I'll display. I need to get those on one of these shelves over here tonight. But that would be cool to have like the original Playmates figure, and then like the bigger versions like in behind it, and just like have them all lined. I don't know.
Especially if we're doing Toxic Crusaders, then you have Turtles together.
Yeah,
to have the crossover. I mean, because they look great.
Muckman, putting Muckman right in there.
Yeah. Jeez. I mean, it was just to have the Turtles all. Yeah, Muckman and Major Disaster and No Zone. Bonehead and Psycho. Yeah, that's. I hope that's not just a one shot where they're just going to Toxic Crusaders and that's it. Like I want to see them. If you're going to do it, go all out. And I'm hoping that there's enough. I mean, there's got to be I'm at a chat room. Do you like Toxic Crusaders? Do you know what the hell I'm talking about? Do you know anything about any of this?
I'm sure it'll pop. It'll probably pop up.
I had that like dog character with that long tongue. I really didn't want it. It was like given to me as a birthday present from my aunt. It's like the worst.
That's a cool ass present. All I got from my aunt and uncles was like the Ninja Turtles, but the troll dolls.
Oh God!
What are you doing?
Oh wow, that's what's.
He likes the Ninja Turtles.
You get the troll ones. It shows the difference though in kind of like certain kind of age groups, because you're talking about the Toxic Avengers and all that, or Toxic Crusaders. I'm sorry, I never collected any of them figures, and I remember the movie Toxic Avenger and 1, 2, 3, 4. But when I made a Toxic Avenger figure in vintage He-Man style years ago, there was people saying, oh man, I didn't know he looked that gross in the cartoon or the toys. I was like, no, this is the movie. And then those people said, there was a movie? So there were some of the people that grew up knowing only the cartoon and toys, didn't know the movie. Then there's people like me that knew the movie that never watched the cartoon or collected the toys. So there was that weird kind of gap. But yeah, I did a vintage one years ago. Not that I'm saying, hey, I was the first to do it, but yeah, I did a vintage.
God, you were just all about playing with yourself on your customs here tonight, man. God,
isn't it terrible? God, I'm like whoring myself out horribly. I should go in the other room
Joe
and show you
is
this.
just like being a really cheap whore about it too, like bad perfume. I mean, legs are spread wide open, just like just put money in a jar. Next one, please. He just
God.
By the way, link down below if you want to hit Joe up for a custom creation. May as well.
Yes.
Go all out.
It's
the
down
QVC
there. Network, for Amato Creations.
I should go in the other.
God, can you imagine Joe on QVC just standing there? He's got them all like lined up, and he's got his imp figure that's like the first one he ever did.
And it's coming like some bullshit like this. Only like 1 in a million people here. You must act now, and if you act now, I'll even throw in one of my scarves that I wore once in episode 76 of Fans of Power. But you must call in the next 30 minutes to get this.
Phone lines are just lighting up. They're lighting up, boy.
Joe, if that ever happens and you are on QVC for that, the only thing that I want you to do is personally request Don West be the host of that segment. Yeah. That's all I want.
Yeah, or Nathan, he can wear one like this Bill Cosby sweater. So he can talk about the greatness of Joe Kamada's custom. And Joe says, "I handcrafted all this shit." It's just and you see like the Play-Doh like drooping off.
He's like, "Oh, what's that over there? A nickel." And then he like gets up and walks over and picks it up and comes back, sits down. What were we talking about?
Gotta get that
like
nickel.
Ben Still and Happy Gilmore. This is handmade quality shit we're talking about here, people.
Right. Oh my God.
My fingers hurt.
Yeah. What's that? Yeah. Joe's got a sweatshop of senior citizens in his house building this stuff. Yeah, that's how this stuff gets done, people. Not from the magic of Joe's fingers.
Joe's like, now you go to sleep, or I'll put you to sleep.
Check out the face mask. You're in my world now, Grandma.
Right? How about that? Oh my! Oh dear! Oh Jesus! Oh crap! Man, I should go in the other room now, and I should get that slime pit He-Man that I was working on because I was doing a slime pit.
Slap the hell out of that old man who just is saving up every nickel he can to go to McDonald's tomorrow, hoping to God he'll live to see another day.
Exactly. Like, hurry it up. But yeah, I have a slime pit He-Man that I was working on from last week for a customer, and then of course they showed the transparent He-Man. I don't call him slime pit He-Man because slime pit He-Man, when he got slimed in the comic, did not turn transparent. Don't get me wrong, transparent figures are cool, but I figured if you want slime,
Joe, what is this current trend of translucent or see-through figures that seems to be popping up all over the place?
Well, I know that there is a demand. Like, okay, first let me just say, in the custom community, when I go to pages, I see a lot of people like seeing figures just casted see-through and transparent in many colors. And again, nothing wrong with it, and a lot of companies are making it now.
I don't get it. What's the gimmick? What's the reason behind it?
They just, I don't know. People like seeing stuff transparent. I know it sounds bizarre, but they're like, it's blue, it's transparent, and some people freak out over it. And like for me, the slime pit He-Man, the only thing that angers me about it, again, nothing wrong with it if people like it. I'm not putting anybody down that likes it. But
Joe, you're entitled to have your opinion about it.
I'm saying it nicely though. I don't want people thinking I'm insulting these figures.
Let me do that part. I'll be the insulter. You be,
Yeah, I'll say my part, and then Tyler will insult.
What this dynamic is on this? Joe is the flight attendant who's singing the happy song in Airplane, and I'm the little girl who's gasping for air because my eyes are pulled out.
Right, exactly. And when they start singing the song, all those people are peeking around the corner. Remember, heads coming down from this side.
Yeah, no, I'm just sitting there, and I was like, "Can I have another, please?" Thank you.
But no, well, okay. When I made my slime pit He-Man vintage figure and classics years ago, which that actually is one of my most popular in-demand ones, which some people would say, well, Joe, if they made one like how you did, then you wouldn't make, any money off them. I don't care. I'd rather have an official one, and plus I make a ton of other things. But vintage and classics, I looked at the mini comic where he got slimed, and he was slime pit He-Man. He had an angry face. He had slime dripping off him, a completely different head. That is slime pit He-Man. When he got slimed, he did not turn transparent and just look like He-Man. He slimed up. He looked angry. He looked menacing. In fact, I have one in the other room, and I made him glow for this customer. He glows in the dark with all this glow-in-the-dark slime, but I made an angry version. So I see this, what they're doing. I'm like, it's just He-Man transparent green. That does not make him slime pit He-Man. But if people like that, cool. But for me, I would wish they would make a real, official Slime Pit He-Man. Do some sculpting, do some slime, have an angry face, and don't make him transparent because he doesn't need to be transparent. But
that's why they need to have you on the payroll, Joe.
I mean, I'm not going to be an ass. I almost want to go in the other room just to show you guys. Is it cheap or something?
Like, is it just a circular, like, hey, if we do it like this, we'll save like hundreds of dollars. So let's just do it like this and slap a label on there and say it's like I'm sure there's a method to it, but I also feel like there wasn't really something.
Well, it's quicker.
Thought that is that what it is?
Well, pretty much what you just said there. I mean, to just make a transparent He-Man green and say Slime Pit He-Man, yes, I guess that would be a lot cheaper than doing completely new sculpting because to make the head sculpt, to do the armor, the body, it would all have new sculpt. So yeah, that'd be slimed all over. So I can understand them just saying cast them green, transparent, there you go. But yeah, I would like an actual slime one, but that's just me. But I love making them every time somebody asks for one because I've gotten so many of those.
How about this? You guys, instead of buying that figure, just hit Joe up to make more of his vision. There we go.
Because I mean, based on, and that's something that we hadn't touched on yet, that the PowerCon exclusives, which I about shit a brick when it was shown that we're going to get Slamurai finally.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I was ecstatic that and the Snake Horde Troopers are coming. And then the other two, I'm like, you know.
What is, but by chance, the Starburst She-Ra, or is it Starburst or Bubble Power? Which one is that? Is it Starburst? I'm trying to remember.
Yeah. I think Bubble.
And is she in doll form? That's not a figure, right? Is that a doll?
More like it's supposed to be more reminiscent of the vintage figure, which is more doll-like, so to speak.
Okay.
But when I saw a picture, I'm like, I'm not buying it. I don't need to see any more of it. It's too girly.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, but for the people that want it,
buying a doll. I'm not buying a doll. You know, I just that's a kick-ass She-Ra that I got back here on display here. I don't need a very Barbied up. You know, even though I know it's based on the original toy line, it's not. No, I'm not.
I will say this: if NECA because who owns the rights to Jim? If someone made like Jim classic form figure, I would buy all of those.
I think that was the Mattel.
Hasbro.
Hasbro did Jim. Yeah, because yeah. So that's probably because the movie came at like a fart in the wind.
Yeah, that movie. I actually did watch the movie. I don't know why. We got drunk and I still had HBO Go.
Wouldn't you rather set a bag of dog shit on fire and watch that instead or something? Yeah.
I mean, at least the songs in it were cool, but everything else is just like, man.
But I guess the point I was trying to make is that the movie was a flop and it treated the property with not much dignity. So that kind of makes it feel like, people don't like Jim. You know,
I have to say something real quick that you guys mentioned NECA. First, let me say hello to Psycho Ward in the chat room. Thank you for joining us. But let me say something quick about NECA. I'm glad to finally say, Nathan knows what I'm going to do with one thing, but let me say the other.
Going with this already.
Yeah. But first, let me say I want to give them so much props on the Halloween 2 Michael Myers from the original Halloween 2 movie, because I've always said, damn it, I am tired of seeing the original Halloween Michael Myers made by NECA and this company and this company. It's the same damn part one. Then here came Rob Zombies over and over, and then here came the new version. I was like, he looks completely different in part 2, and God forbid 4 and 5, and I mean really 5. Oh,
yeah,
God,
we don't need figures from those movies.
But I'm saying
the way you guys are always going on and on.
Yeah, because I'm gonna ramble, you know me. But I was like, well, hell, they finally made 2, and it even comes with the Ben Tramer head mask. I was like, cool as hell. They're actually gonna make 3 little shitty kids. I mean, not bad, meaning that they look like they suck, but 3 kids from you know me.
Wait, hang on, 3 little shitty kids.
Don't
you can't take that back now. It's out there.
Well, from part 3 wearing the masks, happy Halloween song. So that's cool. They say that they're still needing licensing approval, but it's great. Then here comes Friday the 13th. Getting more ultimates. We're getting an Ultimate 5. We're getting Roy, you see, with his mask and, when it popped off and other stuff. And I keep saying, Christ, can you make part 8 already? We have never had Jason. We never had Jason from part 8 from any company. It's such a unique look. And for them to keep constantly saying, well, part 8, not a lot of people like that movie, so they wouldn't want to. Oh, so you're saying part 5?
You got 3 people at least right here that will buy that figure.
But be awesome. His slimy, different look, the yellow mask. Make part 8. Christ, for goodness sake, do it. We need him in our collection. Then we'd have every Jason stuff. I mean, Christ, they even made him in the dream form from part 5 with the worms out of the mask. They gave us a mask from the crazy part 5 variant with the, the white hockey mask that looked like nothing in the movie. We even got that, but we can't get part 8 Jason. So, I had to do that because it drove me nuts. But NECA, they were showing lots of awesome shit. There were even these weird, like, funky, toony horror figures.
I thought those looked cool. Those look like straight up. I mean, of course, I like them because, I was in Scooby-Doo, so there we go.
Oh, I didn't mean funky bad. I thought they were called Funky Toons, or I don't know what it was called, but they look cool. And also, they were doing Pamela Voorhees as a figure with her old face looking all rotted.
I did.
What's up?
No, I did get this from GameStop. And the figure is actually different. It's a little varied from the one that they released from Comic-Con, because that one a little more see-through, this one not so much. And when you open it, if it'll work, there we go.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, so it plays that, but the figure, if you can kind of see that, it does look different, and it also comes, I don't think her head came with the other figures.
No, because I have that. Hold on a second. I have the original one. I didn't know that all that shit, what you were just showing.
That is so cool.
You can get a better look at it, but the figure does look a lot different.
Yeah, because here's mine. Yeah, because mine doesn't have all that what you have. Mine's, you're right.
It was different enough for me to justify. It was $25, unless you're Eric Amon, who got it for like $12, because I guess he's got that Amato charm, and there must have been a girl behind the counter. She's like, "Oh, hey, I can give you this for $12," and he's like, "Well, I appreciate that. I
have to talk with Eric, see how he did that. Get me one. Damn, that'd be awesome." But
and they also have the Freddy Krueger one as well, but I passed on it just because the Freddy figures that I have are, I feel like I'm good with that. And he never really varied too much from movie to movie, whereas Jason just like evolved.
You can never have enough Jason. You can always get tons of him. Oh,
man.
Christ.
Yeah, that was a lot of toy talk. Before we jump on, you guys move to the Marvel stuff. Was there anything that you guys didn't like? I know we had already touched on the translucent figures and all that stuff, the power cons that Tyler doesn't care about. Was there anything else that you're just like on at all?
No, hell, I was pretty pleased with. I mean, like I said, I was pleased with everything I've seen, and I mean, not just the second Escape from Masters, but they also showed a Bob Ross figure that NECA is going to be doing. I was like, I'm gonna have to get a Bob Ross figure. That look cool as hell.
And they're doing the Golden Girls as well. I'm just like, I'm kind of tempted to get all those. I don't know why.
That wasn't announced a while back though, that they were doing.
Yes, it was. I thought it was announced a while back, but they looked cool too. But no, I wasn't disappointed with anything. I like I said, I was pleased, even with the figures that like I said, not picking on, but like with the slime version of He-Man. But otherwise, no, everything was great. And for those who can afford Snake Mountain, awesome. It's at least good to hear that they're doing it for those who can afford it.
Yeah. No $600 Snake Mountain for me either.
No, I talked to Spike about that the other day, and I'm like, I don't have a place to. I can't display Castle Grayskull, let alone a place that's even big. And $600 to me is just kind of a nauseam to pay that kind of money for something like that. It's just kind of, I just feel like I would really put that money. Yeah, and Joe said it too. There's a lot of stuff that's being, that Super Sevens, like with the last couple of pre-orders they've done, the vintage wave that's coming. Then you got the movie wave already. I mean, that's a lot of pre-orders coming. And I don't know when the Snake Mountain pre-order is going to start, but I mean, yes, it would be absolutely awesome to own that playset. There's no denying it, but I just.
Oh, it's May. I'm sorry. Pre-order is in May. That's when it's going to happen for Snake Mountain.
So, all right. So it would May, June, July, August, September, October. So yeah, it would be before Christmas, so it wouldn't interfere with Christmas money.
You may as well do it. Talk yourself into it. You want it. Blow all your money.
That's an extra $100 a month, though, man.
Well, I guess you're just gonna either have to cut out going tanning, or just not eat for a couple weeks.
Hey, Nathan,
yes.
You're a good friend to him. Why don't you just sell off Scratch or something and get that money to Tyler and let him get his.
No, I mean, I guess if Nathan wanted, he could sell one of those high-priced books that he didn't know he had.
Nope.
See?
Nope. Nope. I got you, Viper Tower. Wasn't that enough?
Yes, yeah. I can't argue that. So I don't know. I honestly, I'm just not comfortable spending that kind of money on the place.
I mean, who would be other than
unless
people
it's the
that
Eternia playset complete or something like that? I feel
what if that's next? Like classic Eternia playset. What would you do?
You'd be bankrupt. Yeah, that would be that's not even possible. That would never happen.
Though, like, as many people who actually say, "Oh, I want it too," who was actually
Never
going to fork over the cash to make sure that this is actually a go.
It'd be a couple
there's
thousand,
got to be a certain
guaranteed.
quota of Snake Mountains that have got to be like, okay, we're guaranteed this, and they're probably made to order. I'd assume something like this.
Yeah,
I can't imagine Super 7 making extras of this. Like this is pretty much.
I wouldn't think so. I just imagine either.
I just hope that once all this stuff starts shipping out, that there aren't any issues for anybody, and they come in the condition that they want them in. Nothing's broken. Things look the way that they were supposed, like how they showed them. It'll look very similar to that, and not off or whatever. I guess we're wrapping this up, and you guys are about to start the Star Comics, right?
Yeah. So it was good having you. And real quick, I want to show one more thing. When I was going through my Star Comics, this ain't a big deal, but damn, how do I keep hitting shit? I'm sorry. Okay. When I was going through my comics and rereading for the Star one, I forgot that I have a Sonic number 1/4. It's a free one that back in the day in some of the video game magazines they would have comics, and boy, it's in pristine condition. But I was like, I don't know if many people seen that, because Archie Comics started doing Sonic back in the day, but this was the first one before they started doing the Archie comics that you buy at the stores. It was in one of the video game magazines, and it was issue number 1/4. Like 1/4. So
you better go get that graded, Joe.
Yeah, curious. Also, some of the old ones, like back in the magazines, they had a story of Sonic the Hedgehog, how he became Sonic the Hedgehog. And I don't know if it was a Sega Vision magazine, but Sonic used to be brown, and through an experiment with Dr. Quinto Bar and with some eggs and some shit, it turned him into a blue Sonic. But Quinto Bar became Robotnik, and the egg turned him into an egg-looking man. So yeah, because he used to be Robotnik, and he always was, even in that old comic. But eventually he became Eggman. But I always liked Robotnik. But why the hell did I side rant?
I don't know.
Okay, so you think you're pretty smart, don't you, here, Joe, with your knowledge of Sonic the Hedgehog? What the hell does that have to do with talking about?
I was like, what? He's like, huh? You had to search through your comics, Joe, and you had to grab that stupid fucking
of all
Sonic.
Things, Joe's like, I had this one Sonic the Hedgehog quarter comic that doesn't really count,
I don't know. I thought people would find it entertaining. I God, the things that go through my head. Oh, Jesus. Nathan, we'll have to wrap it up. And,
I figured Joe is going to be like Jim Carrey, Dumb and Dumber. He goes to the store. Can you get the essentials? He comes back with the big cowboy hat, the paddle ball. And loses his wallet.
I got robbed by a lady in a motorized cart.
That's Joe,
I didn't even see it coming.
Straight. What the hell were you thinking, Joe?
Well, before I go, I do want to make a correction, because Grim 2 is like, hey, you idiot. I said 90s Turtles. 87. Sometimes you start on a train of thought. So I'm throwing that out there. And with that said, I'm going to go with the beer flows like wine. How the hell they know I got gas? I need to watch Dumb and Dumber. Got to get someone else to watch it too.
Yeah.
All right. You guys have fun talking about the comic.
All right.
It was a pleasure. Right. I'll see you here at the end of the show. And the end of the show. I can't talk. I've only had one of these. I'm just throwing that out.
Yeah, I bet.
Right. One of those 10 times.
Yeah.
Right.
Have fun.
All right, Tyler. Well, I'll let you start off. We're going to talk about issue 12 of the Star Marvel comic. Back in the day from Masters of the Universe, where Here Lies He-Man. Everybody knows that iconic cover, which as a kid freaked me out, especially when, oh my God, did He-Man die in this? Of course, but I'll let you start, but a good story. I liked the story. Of course, we'll discuss the next issue next week, but go ahead.
Yeah, it's a pretty, and it's been a long time, because I don't own it. This one and the next issue are arguably the hardest to find of that series, and Nathan has issue 13. It was over at his house tonight. I said, like, get that graded because it's hard to find.
Okay, I didn't know that. All right.
So I had to read this on He-Man.org because I've never owned it, and it's been a long time since I read it. And it's a really James Eatock even did like a write up about the Star Comics series and focus like specifically on the last two issues, because the tone of the series changes in these last two issues, and of course the series was canceled, and then there was a the issue 14, War and Peace, which there have been pieces of that book released. Deucin, the name of the Facebook group that he moderates, the one about like facts and trivia about Master of the Universe. I forgot what it's called.
Yes.
But there's been panels released of that book too, where He-Man is sporting the movie outfit, and there's a lot of the movie elements used. And there will be, I think, in the next issue as well. But in reading this too, it was it made me feel like that this was like what could have happened at the events of the movie. It's like this book kind of sets up if He-Man, which Adam gives up being He-Man in this, kind of reminiscent of Amazing Spider-Man 50. And because of that, Skeletor does take over due to the Cosmic Key, which kind of makes you feel like when this starts, it's almost like this is leading up to the events of the film. But
it kind of felt like that. You're right.
Like an alternate reality or an alternate, kind of a parallel dimension, because it involves time travel and
they even mentioned Blade, don't they? They mentioned Blade, but they never showed him. But I think they mentioned.
They refer to him as General Blade, which is like that's a nice touch to say, like, okay, well, since Skeletor won, Blade rose up and became one of the in the higher rankings of Skeletor's crew. So that's what it made me feel like, is that if you really actually wanted to see what would have happened if Skeletor had won, this is kind of what you saw in the movie if He-Man had not stuck around and gave up being He-Man, which also validates that whatever you say about the live action movie, if you buy into this, there is a Prince Adam, King Randor, Queen Marlena, Battle Cat, Clam Champ, everybody that you're familiar with is around. It's just focusing on this one particular story and kind of takes off in its own direction. So because of that, it's a brilliant story.
It is, and it also starts off with the whole dynamic of what we said so many times of, Prince Adam. Maybe he'd like to just live his life as being Prince Adam and not have that mantle of, being He-Man and always having to worry about He-Man or making himself look like, as he said, kind of like a buffoon in everybody's eyes, as putting on this act. But they, Man-at-Arms tries to tell him, you know why you have to do this and to protect your family and all the secrets, and it's very important. But he figures He-Man isn't needed anymore. He's like, in the beginning, it was basically just me as being He-Man. He says, but look at all the heroes that have risen up since then. And they show, of course, Extendar, and you see Rotar, you see
Clam Champ, that beautiful splash panel. Yeah.
Yeah, so they show all these characters, and he's figuring, I'm not needed anymore. Which then does lead to an unfortunate thing when he's leaving the one room, and then you hear something, and Skeletor, bam, appears, and it's basically going to hold, Man-at-Arms kind of ransom, in a way to, hold him hostage to try to get He-Man to come. But if He-Man comes, this brainwaves is going to set off this kind of device that Skeletor has concocted, that when He-Man gets in range, it'll go off and blast He-Man to the future. But of course, it starts ticking off right there because, brainwaves of Adam and He-Man are pretty much damn the same thing, which sets it off. But, Prince Adam takes that sword to throw at that device, and when it blows it up, boom, it sends a sword into the future. And that's what happens. That's why, okay, what the hell can we do now? And that's when Man-at-Arms has a device that he has that can send He-Man 30 years into the future. And he says he'll send him, I think, a couple minutes. I don't know if he said before or after, so he can make sure. I think it was before the sword arrives. So then when the sword arrives, he can get it. But, well, of course, that backfired because, again, we don't want to ruin all the plot elements for you in case you guys want to read it on the org, or if you can search it down on eBay and get this gem of a comic. But it does show that, now he sees in the future what has happened. Now that there was no He-Man, how the world has now been taken over by Skeletor. And then you find out about the people that have died, and people are now imprisoned, and who has had to take over this mantle, and all the different changes. But he now sees that He-Man, yes, he is needed. Now he's got to figure a way of, becoming He-Man again and stopping us, obviously, to get the sword to go back to the past and change all this. But I'll pass it to you. But I loved it because it expanded upon the thing we always said about, Prince Adam once in a while, I'm sure, would like to just be Prince Adam, but they really went deep with it because not only just always being Prince Adam, not He-Man, but just forget it. He doesn't want to be He-Man no more. His whole point in that comic was to take the sword to Grayskull and give it to the sorceress and say, basically, find somebody else.
And that it's like it carries on that notion from Prince Adam, and it makes sense. And I feel like it's a very validated storyline that it's great to see that it's given two issues, and it's unfortunate that the series was over, when the stories were getting very, very serious. Like this is when you read this, people, it doesn't come off like a lot of the other Star comics where they're a little very lighthearted and really come off as advertisements. Like in this book, you don't see like there's mentions. I mean, you see the one panel of the Snake Man, Rio Blast is mentioned but not actually shown. Clamp Champ is shown at an older age later on in the book. You got the splash panel of the characters, which was used as like a magazine ad also too. But it's not character heavy. It's just story driven, and that's what makes it such a special issue. And like not spoiling, but Skeletor's taken over. It's called Castle Skeletor instead of Castle Grayskull.
Mhm.
Snake Mountain now is Prison Mountain, where anybody that has gone against Skeletor's rule, from men, women, whoever, they are sent there to work as miners in the mountain. Children are sent off to be brainwashed to follow Skeletor's lead. I mean, he's running the entire show, and in the center of, all of this is an obelisk risen up with says He-Man's dead. To remind everybody, there is no hope. Your hero is gone and has been gone for 30 years. And you'll see there's a resistance. We won't get into that because that kind of spoils what Adam is going to be running into when he does. But it's, there's certain characters that are dead. Some are imprisoned. And there's kind of a little twist with the ones that are imprisoned. And I'll just say that there's a fun little revelation with about Marlene and Randor as well.
Yeah, I love that part.
Yeah.
I really like that part. And I like the part that, like you said at the end with the obelisk, where it says, "Here lies He-Man," and of course, what Adam does to try to give hope to the world, that is, to what he writes, which you see in the next issue on the cover, where Skeletor lies, He-Man lives. I love that part. But also, you've seen, you want to talk about characters that would look cool in figure form. For some reason, they never look at these Star Marvel ones. But not only is there a very unique, older-looking Prince Adam, which is pretty cool, but that Andrus, I don't know how you want to say his name, but the guy who takes over being Man-at-Arms.
Yeah.
It's he has a unique look. That guy, I mean, he's the kind of long flowing hair and he has his mustache, but it's like a blonde hair, but it's a distinct look, thinking that could be a cool ass figure. It's like I see things in that thinking these are things would look cool.
Push to like for another cheap ass Man-at-Arms variant where it's Man-at-Arms the same figure. We just painted his mustache blonde.
Well, I meant hopefully if they just showed him out of the Man-at-Arms outfit, like just Andrus, if you want to have him like that. I don't even, like I said, again, I don't know if I'm saying his name correctly, but with the blue outfit, the long flowing blonde hair, the whole thing, it's like, that's a cool ass looking different character. But the Prince Adam, a completely different looking older Prince Adam. But I liked they expanded again about creating a different Man-at-Arms. And like you said, we won't spoil and give everything away, but it's stuff that then will lead into the next issue, which even gets more juicier. But I just remember those comics, I think those were the ones that I probably read the most, alongside reading the one with the Meteorbs, because I was just obsessed on the Meteorbs back in the day. But I love that two-parter. I just would just kind of read them just over and over back then. So I didn't know they were that expensive, though.
Oh, no, yeah. If you go on eBay, and they're hard to find by auction, period. But when you do find them, people are asking from as small as like $30 and more. I mean, they're hard to find, and when you need to find them, they're not cheap. I'm sure, yes, somebody may come across one and find it for like $15, $20. There's always that opportunity, but I'm saying the consensus is they're not cheap. And for whatever reason, the word is out on those last two books and the movie adaptation. And actually, issue number, I think is it 9 or no 10. The one that's got Hordak and He-Man on the cover fighting a giant beast, like My Enemy, My Friend. I think it's the name of the book. That's another hard one to find. So if you do come across those, grab them. If you can afford it, grab it, because they are hard to find. And check. There's like I said, if I can remember which issue of Serial Geek that James Eatock publishes, there's a really good article about the Star Comics and the transition because it was a brand new writer on the book for those last couple of issues where the tone of the stories become a lot more mature. So if you haven't read that stuff, whether you're a casual fan, hardcore fan, or you just love He-Man and want to know more, you do need to go to He-Man.org and check out. Go to publishing, go to comic books, and you'll find all the Star comics listed there. You can read them all for free. If you like it, you can go on eBay and get yourself a copy of it. But
I wonder if those became shorter runs in the end, because if you want to hear another,
they may have,
yeah. Because here's another little story that always scared me is those last maybe 3, issue 12, 13, and of course the movie adaptation. I always went to 7-Eleven to get them. And then when issue 12 came and I was there that month and waiting, it's like, nothing. And I went the next day, nothing. And I asked the guy, there was like, did you get the new He-Man comics? I was like, well, I don't know. It should have been here. Maybe next week. It didn't come next week. I was freaking out. I went to a store that might have been, let's say, 5 blocks further. And this was an area I never went to, but somebody said there's another little like corner store, if you want to call it. So I rode my bike down to there, parked it, went inside. Bam, it was there. And that's where I had to find my last 3 issues, with this further place that I never went to. So, yeah, maybe it just was shorter runs because 7-Eleven quit carrying it for those last 3.
Probably so, and I'm sure the sales too. I mean, because when these books were coming out, I mean, we're 87, that's the last year of He-Man, and was officially canceled in 88. So all this stuff is coming out in 87. Movie tie-ins, because, the next issue has even more movie tie-ins as well. And features Clamp Champ, and so it's just as much as I love 87, it's also sad too that all that stuff came to an end in the States, at least. I know Italy and some parts of Europe, they kept it going, and like in Germany and the UK, they still have the annuals going and stuff. But
in 1991, you get the Chinese comic that is loaded with so much insanity. It's like, good God, what's going on?
Why are you doing this?
He's like, why did you have to bring that up? Oh, well, you were mentioning how it was still going, but had to bring that up, Zodak in the car and all that. And, well, yeah. But, hey, Dushin, he did a cool little filmation version of that. So it's like, damn it, Joe, you shouldn't have brought that up, the Chinese comic. It is cool, though. I'd like to have that copy.
Of course you would. That way you could talk about it. I had check out this Chinese one panel, and then Joe gets like legions of people who are just like, oh my God, Joe, where did you get that? How do you do it,
Spike?
Joe?
I'll admit, Spike, yeah, you're just upset because Spike just found the most obscure crap, and you're known for that stuff. And I'll admit it, Spike did find the jackpot in one goofy-ass, crazy little comic. It has more insanity than things that I've probably posted the whole year. It's like, I don't know how it's possible, but it did. But, yeah, you're right, it did. It continued in Italy and other countries, and they had so many other things, and I think that's why we're so starved for when we see a lot of the UK stuff and other things, like, wow, you guys just kept going while it was ended here. And I'd love for that to be brought here, the UK magazine stories somehow.
And that's something I would also like to know. Obviously He-Man was still popular over there, and it just bothers me, that obviously the market was still going relatively strong to justify Megator and Titus and Scuba Attack, Cliff Climber, and all that stuff, and the laser power and laser light were released over there.
Not here, though, damn it.
But not here. And then they continue on with magazines and UK annuals and stuff. I'm like, what is it? I mean, like, when I learned that as I got older, when the internet, and you realize how all this stuff is still going on, and I've often wondered, like, man, like, at what point do they decide, those kids over there, we're not really into He-Man anymore? Like, they were still clamoring for it, or there was still an interest in it. So clearly those kids over there were a lot smarter than the kids in the U.S., because people like Joe ruined it for me, because they decided I just want to play Nintendo and then move on to this, where I'm I'm like, why can't I have more He-Man toys? Why are they not in stores anymore?
Well, here's the thing. I still was collecting He-Man. Even as games started kind of coming out, I still wanted He-Man. But when He-Man was gone, I was done with toys, and I was pissed because I love my He-Man, and I still would have collected it. The thing that fascinates me and got me pissed is, like, it was before the internet. It was when I told you I would go to the mall, and they'd always have those action figure review toy magazines. Yeah. And they said, look at your old He-Man stuff. And I remember flipping through, I was like, the hell is that? Titus and Megator. I remember I felt like my heart was crushed when they showed Titus and Megator. They said European exclusives or whatever. And then I flipped, and it said a laser power He-Man and laser light Skeletor. I was like, what the hell are those? Man, Tyler, I lost it, because I was always so happy thinking, I saved every one of my figures from when I was a kid, and I had the whole He-Man collection. And then I seen that stuff and the Scuba Attack and all that other crap. I was like, oh, man, that was heart-wrenching. So, yeah, when the internet came, and then I found out about eBay, and I started searching, and it was before that the height of everything increased where the market went high. I was able to find almost all those minus the laser power He-Man, but I found everything else at a super cheap price when I had the money back in the day. So I got it all. I just got this cheap naked version of laser power He-Man with nothing, no armor, no sword. And so I kind of have the complete collection, but just not the armor and sword.
To me, that's a complete collection. As hard as those figures will forever be to own, yeah, just to own the figure itself. Like, to me, that's an accomplishment. To have Titus with, no armor and just by himself, what you see a lot of pictures of, like Titus and Megator without their armor, but they still got their flock tear and all that, or the actual like hair, the whatever the hell you call it.
I got lucky with him. He was sold, and I found him on eBay when I was looking for giant He-Man figures because I seen somebody had a giant bootleg Mexican He-Man figure. I searched and I typed in giant He-Man, and I seen Titus in the box, and it was at $100. There was nobody else watching it, and I sat there and I, at the last minute, put in $100, waited, and that's what I won them for. It was a sports shop that had it. Out of all places, a sports shop. They didn't even know what they had. That was the biggest steal in the world of something I got was Titus vintage.
You have Titus in the box.
Yeah, and I have them.
Where's
I
it
have
at?
the box.
Where's it at?
Hold on. Well, I have the box in the closet, but I have the figure over here, and he's mint. Hold on a second. Let me take off my earbuds.
Good Lord.
Don't want to hit nothing. Sorry, 1 second. Don't mean to make noise. Ugh. 1 second, I got them in my lap. Yeah, I'm not going to take the box out of the closet now, but I do have that. And yeah, got him with his
Oh,
whoops.
Man.
Yes, I got him, and he's got everything, and his perfect hair and everything. It's like, man, this was the steal. This was the steal of the century back then. $100. I was waiting for people to jump on him like crazy, just because they titled it Giant He-Man. He was not called Titus. He was called Giant He-Man. So I thank the Mexican bootlegs for that, and I have some of those over there. That's the whole reason I found him, was because of the giant Mexican bootleg He-Man figures.
Joe, can I just have that?
He's like, can I have it, man? Like, sure, I'll send it to you. Go ahead.
All right.
Take it. Take it off.
I'll let you know when it arrives.
Right.
That's amazing, dude.
Yeah, and a really, really nice box. Like I said, and that's safe in the closet.
I absolutely love that box art of Titus taking on King Hiss. You got Hero and Squeeze and Tongue Lasher at the bottom of the box around that castle with the parapets and stuff. I've always found it to be a very fascinating piece of artwork. Of all the He-Man artwork that we got from the packaging, that scene, it just always resonated with me because of this, it's Hero, you got Squeeze, and this mythology of the giants, which I just thought was such an interesting concept that obviously never came to fruition. That's something I would love to see explored a little bit more. And because in the Powers of Grayskull comic, when the Sorcerer says that's the land of the giants, which is the only hint of Titus and Megator we would ever get in the original toy line, and I'm like I used to wonder, like, giants, like what does that mean?
I'm trying to remember, and I want to say it right because they have a story on the back of that, of course, on the box, and I know they have it in English, and I can't remember if it's in Italian as well. I'm just trying to remember, but I know that, God, who was it? There was somebody that had the proof box of the U.S. version of that years ago that they sold, and I think they promoted on He-Man.org. And on the back, they showed the translation, and there was something added that I think was not on that version I have, where I thought they mentioned Mammoth Valley, where everything is 10 times bigger. I mean, I might be wrong. Maybe it's already on there, but I thought they made reference of something on the U.S. box that, of course, we never got, that was not on that translated box. And if somebody can correct me, that's fine. But I know they mentioned something else. There was like some phrase that was different. And it's crazy to see that was planned here. We were gonna, but it just didn't happen because they had the U.S. proof box.
And I have read, because when you're digging for that kind of stuff, I was just desperate to look for the box art and know that they would put these little bits of narration on the back of that packaging. So I do remember reading the European release box and thought it was, but I can't remember what was on there. But it just made me feel like it was a little, added a little bit of flavor to what was going to be going or coming to us in the line, and to see that and to see that Powers of Grayskull comic throw out so many hints and ideas and thoughts and characters that we were going to get more of, and that's explored in issue 2 and 3, which were just going to be about Hero and Eldor, more King Hiss, more dinosaurs. We probably would have got to see Gigantosaur probably in that second issue of that mini comic.
Oh, yeah.
That the Giants, I'm sure the Giants definitely would have shown up in issue 2, and it's hard to say what else would have popped up. Because I've often wondered, that next wave of figures, which I assume was probably meant to be part of the next wave of He-Man figures, not the Powers of Grayskull, but with like Hot Shot / Plasmar, Grasp, Terror, those and like Slammer and the Snake Horror Troopers probably would have been the next wave of basic He-Man figures, and not anything to do with Powers of Grayskull. But with this one, where the hell was I going with this? I really had just pulled a Frank Drebin here. I'm like,
you're out in the middle of nowhere. We see all your rocks that you were
looking
on,
around like all these wild animals and stuff. But it just really, and that's something that I hate to this day. Like, I'm sorry, we did not get what we were told we were going to get. Like, I'm not taking this time to slam, Scott and Alex those many comics that he did, but that Powers of Grayskull mini comic storyline is not done. It's not finished. It's not what we were supposed to get. And to me, that's something that I'd give my left nut to see those last 2 issues come to fruition, and to see the Hero and Eldor explored more, to see Gigantosaur, to see the Giants depicted, and to have like Hero, befriend Titus. Megator is size, or it's probably like an out of control giant, like kind of like something that King Hiss would love to have under his control, but like probably he's out of his mind. You can't control Megator, that kind of thing. Am I missing anything else in terms of like the Powers of Grayskull stuff that had been hinted at?
No, you mentioned all. I mean, you mentioned Hero and Eldor. You mentioned the Giants. You mentioned Gigantosaur. I don't think there was.
I know the Power and Honor Foundation had like this concept drawing of what they were going for. It was like the Sorcerer showing He-Man, and there's this massive battle going on with dinosaurs, Snake Men, Hero, and King Hiss. And dinosaurs are eating people are being eaten and killed, and giants are fighting each other. It's like this beautiful battle scene. And I'm like, God, like this is what Mattel was kind of like. This is what we're going for with this new storyline of the past of where He-Man's power comes from, and Castle Grayskull itself, I
mean, like I said, I could only imagine all the extra stuff that we could have got. I did want to say I was right. I brought up 2 pictures that I have. One from the box that I have where it was discussing, it's on the back of Titus's one, and it says, travel back in time and discover the origin of the Powers of Grayskull. Learn how He-Man became so strong, and explore the magical world of Preternia, home of fierce dinosaurs and giants. And then it mentions something about Titus. But then here came what I was talking about, that proof one that was from the United States that they didn't mention. First, they showed Titus's name on the back. It says profile, heroic giant warlord, weapon, body snatcher, origin, Mammoth Valley on Preternia. And everything that I just read about, the most powerful man in the universe, blah, blah, blah. But they had this extra thing where it says the giants come from an incredible place known as Mammoth Valley, where everything is 10 times the normal size. So they did have this extra stuff and things that was exclusive to the United States box that wasn't on the other one. So, damn, what could have been, Tyler? How great would that have been?
Mammoth Valley, I mean, for you casual fans out there listening to this, like, to hear this kind of stuff, I mean, this is expanding the mythology that we talk about so much. This gives you more food for thought. It makes you wonder, like, Mammoth Valley. Is this where all the giants live? Is this just where the more human-like giants live? Is this where the monstrous giants like Megator live? It just like that's expanding the mythology of He-Man. That's an important part right there. Like, I know to Mattel at the time they're just writing some storyline in their eyes. Just write some bullshit on there, whatever. But to us, it's like, you understand, like this that's another part of the mythology that is yet to be explored. It's a thought, and
Damn.
it's one of those things that it gets you excited about, like, you know, what could have been, and it just bothers me that it just to have so much potential. And Joe, if we had a nickel for every time you and I have sat and talked about this idea of the powers of Grayskull, what we didn't get, what could have been. I mean, just sitting down and focusing on all these like small little bits of information like this. I mean, there's so much to explore, stories
How
to
about
be told.
that? How about that? Something me and you could try to do one time. Write our stories and our visions of maybe the expansion, what could have been for the issue 2 and 3, what we could have thought of, especially going off of this information and other things.
I mean, I started to, you know, that's something I have often wondered about for years, and that's something that we didn't get it from Mattel at the time, and I don't know if we'll ever get it, and that's why I feel like it's going to be up to fans like you and I to, like, all right, this is kind of what we think would have like, I feel like issue 2 would have started out with He-Man and the Sorceress in Castle Grayskull, and she's kind of telling him the legend of Hero, and then you're off and running, and you're telling the story of Gray, you know, as a young apprentice, you know, befriends Eldor, teaches him the ways of being a great warrior and a great sorcerer, and taking on King Hiss in their first battle together, the introduction of the giants, and befriending the dinosaurs. Which ones are, you know, are more friendlier, you know, because I mentioned Gigantosaurus can be a heroic dinosaur, of course. And here's another thing, too. I'll throw this one at you. Turbodactyl is depicted as a heroic character for Hero on the box art, but is depicted as a villainous creature in the mini comic.
Yeah,
you know,
they flip flopped on him. It didn't even King Randor. I remember that one William George poster. He's flying Turbodactyl.
He's flying
so
on
it's like,
it. And even in the toy commercial for the dinosaurs, Turbodactyl comes in and saves He-Man at the end of the commercial. Like, kind of makes you wonder, like, is that like some? I mean, because T-Rex clearly, and even in the original concept drawings, was designed as a steed for He-Man, and they swapped it over and made it a steed for Skeletor / King Hiss. So with this, what's the concept? Was Turbodactyl always meant to be something for He-Man to ride along with Bionatops? Because it just leaves like one dinosaur for the villains to ride. So I'm like, Gigantosaur is going to be for the heroes to ride also. Like one dinosaur, of course, it's the T-Rex. But it was just one of those things. Like, was Turbodactyl intended to be a steed for Skeletor, or was it meant? I think it was honestly going to be for Hero, honestly, because goofs like this happened in the mini comics. We've seen this before, but it's just an interesting concept, though. Like,
it is. And for me, when I played with him as a kid, I mean, Turbodactyl was a good creature.
Yeah,
and
same
of course,
here.
Bionatops was. Yeah, and just for King Hiss, he was the one that was always with Tyrannosaurus Rex. I always had to have that, but
I know this is something, and I hate that Larry doesn't remember too much about that issue that he drew. The last book we ever got was drawn by our good friend Larry Houston. But there's a sequence in on the assault in the village that He-Man has to watch. Like there's a giant, like purple snake, like a massive one, like the size of a dinosaur, coming through the village attacking. I used to wonder, like, was that going to be like a possible toy? Is this something that Larry drew in to kind of fill in the gaps of the snake men attacking his village? Having a prehistoric snake the size of a dinosaur running around at the bed of the snake man, like, that's an interesting concept too. A giant boa constrictor or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's something completely different. But if you remember in the vintage Masters of the Universe magazines, remember there was that when they were showing other concept like vehicles in that one part, and there was like some kind of robotic snake that wasn't Cobra Khan on it or something.
Cobra Khan was riding in the mouth of it. Yeah.
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 So there could have been some cool stuff if we could add extra things. So I guess always the what could have been, but. Yeah, maybe someday me and Tyler will try to expand upon that. Maybe we could try to give our
maybe somebody will have, like, you know what, those guys know what the hell they're talking about. I'm tired of hiring all these schlubs who don't know jack shit about He-Man. Let's get people who know something about He-Man, who know how to write and know how to treat these characters with dignity, and not trying to come in and, you know, oh, I'm going to reinvent this and make a name for myself, prick.
Well, we'll definitely give some respect. But that was like I said, it was a fun issue. And next week, we'll wrap it up with issue 13. We'll see what happens in that without spoiling too much and obviously leaving it to, you guys finding it yourself so you can enjoy it all. But who that well just joined us late. Thank you for joining us. But now I'm going to pass it to the chat room, any question you guys have for us from the comics, the mini cartoons, the toys, anything you want, pop it up here because now I'm going to give it to T-Rex in case there's anything he wants to talk about, pimp out, or recommend. Go ahead, Tyler.
I've got notification. Kevin Sharp is going to try and join us on the podcast. So I'm just trying to make sure he's working, gets Hangouts up and running all right. But he's in the process of doing that to where we can get him on here and talk about, because he absolutely loves He-Man, as you people already know by this point. So we get him and talk to him about his time working on He-Man and his passion for it as well, and plug his beautiful artwork as well too. So we'll try and get that done as a guest in the near future. Other than that, I don't think I got too much of anything else to plug here. Other than that, I'm just super stoked that we're finally going to get movie figures again. I can't reiterate that enough. And to get Slamurai, that's $165, I think, for that 3-pack, if I'm not mistaken. For the 3-pack,
with him and the two troopers,
the two troopers and Slamurai. They're the only like multi-set that's going to be a power. The other two I think are sold separately, like Starburst and Slime Pit He-Man. Those are sold separately, individually, and then the Slamurai and the Horde Troopers are sold together as a set. So, yeah, I don't think they're up for pre-order right now, but if you can see pictures of them and everything like that, and I'm sure it's going to have amazing box art.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt about that. But all right, man. Well, all right. Thanks for that, T-Rex. Zentron, I don't know your quote. I don't know if Tyler will. We'll have to find out at the end of the show. His quote is from a TV show. I'm glad to see that some of my genius is starting to rub off on you.
No, I have no idea.
Do you? Okay.
No.
All right. And Kevin Sharp, if you want to get on the podcast, you're going to have to draw me as Modulok with a scarf and stuff, in the background doing some kind of crazy pose. That's the only way you can get on the show because Kevin Sharp's right there. He said, "Oh yeah, coming soon." So no, but I'm just messing. But yeah, you could do it.
No, I'm sure Kevin could throw together like a quick sketch of us in some form or fashion for the podcast. Like I think we could probably get him to throw together a fun little thing like Joe was the mad scientist Ma Joe Lock, customizing figures and destroying vintage figures for someone's personal amusement. And I'm imprisoned in the background, like, what the hell are you doing? This is mad, Joe. You can't destroy a Scareglow figure because someone thought it was cool to make him Caribbean green instead. And Joe's like, he gave me $300, Tyler. I'm gonna do it because I did it for the money,
Yeah, that's like I said, I'm somebody that you could pay to do anything. So yeah, I agree. Sportimus says, what is the one figure or figures you are most excited about in Masters of the Universe form from Super 7 revealed so far? Oh, no doubt. I mean, Sportimus, it's the movie figures. For me, if I was just to pick one, I'm gonna say God Skeletor because I mean both Skeletors look great. So does He-Man, but damn, that God one look good. But what about you, T-Rex?
Just the black cloak Skeletor. That's my favorite, hands down by far. Yeah.
Yeah, damn, those can be awesome. So thanks for that, Sportimus. Let's see. Sportimus says you three should always be friends, man. Seriously? Oh yeah, no doubt, Sportimus always will be.
No, it's just for the show, just for the solid act.
I don't know about you guys, but when we're done with this, I'm cutting ties with these guys.
All done? Okay.
Until Nathan's like, hey, is this worth anything? Then he'll come hit me up.
Yeah, I need Joe to give me some shit on my video game playing. Hey, Joe,
do that because he is bad. I mean, Nathan really is bad. But Sportimus, I'm sorry, Fedmont said, Tyler, how did you forget the problem with power? He says, Tyler, how'd you forget the problem with power? That was the other time Adam gave up being He-Man in any major media. Wait, what did I miss? Did I read that wrong? Tyler, how did you forget the problem with power? That was
if he's quoting the episode problem with power, I'm like, I don't have that episode memorized, so no, I don't take fault.
He doesn't like that episode.
I don't like that episode, so no, I'm not gonna have it memorized. And when he says he's quoting a TV show, I assume he's quoting like LA Law or something like that. So I just sorry.
Okay.
Jake and the Fat Man.
Jake and the Fat Man.
Major Dad, the Nanny.
Yeah, I mean,
any of those wonderful
Evening Shade and Burt Reynolds. I mean, it could be. I wasn't expecting to be trying to quote He-Man. So, but that's one episode.
Well, hold on.
Evening Shade. Holy, I haven't heard that in a long time.
Yeah, I used to love that show. Monday nights.
Lonnie Anderson was on that, right?
No, Burt Reynolds was.
What was the show Lonnie Anderson was on?
WKRP in Cincinnati.
Yeah.
All right.
With the teacher from Head of the Class.
Okay.
Yeah. Quickly, Delva said he's super excited to get that Leech comic, so there goes that. But no, Zentron said it was the New Adventures of He-Man, The Seeds of Resistance. So, that was the episode?
I don't have that memorized.
Whew. Wow, I wouldn't have known that.
Have you listened to this podcast? You guys know I don't have that show memorized. Like it's getting hard for me to even want to do commentary for that show. So no, I'm,
All right.
You beat me on that one.
Delva78 said, Joe, you ever? Oh God, I don't want to say this question because I know I'm going to get it from Tyler. He said, Joe, ever done a custom to look like Tyler? Well, Delva's not yet, no, but I mean, there's one. I will try to get
one. Someone did do one, like 4 or 5 years ago. Someone did do one based on Axel's design of me, and it looked really good.
I mean, have you ever watched the MTV show The Head from back in the day? That's pretty much what it'd be like.
What?
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Sounds vaguely familiar.
I remember it's like he's just got like his head just goes like way up.
Yes, I remember that. Yeah,
there we go. You make a custom of you. That's what it would look like. The head. Remember, it was like the Head, Eon Flux, and
the Max.
Max, yeah,
and Beavis and Butthead.
Yeah, Liquid television.
But no, Joe. I remember Joe like was bombarded. Hey man, I'll make a custom for you. I'm like, hey Joe, can you do it? Like, not now, kid. So it's just like when Joe wanted my money, I didn't have it, and when I was like, Joe, I'd like you to make it. He's like, well, I got to rearrange my sock drawer, and there's a guy who might pay me for a $3,000 custom of,
Man at Arms and Smurf form.
Yeah, and it's just really important that I don't have time to make something like that. I really don't. I know I was bullshitting you 3 months ago, like, hey, Tyler, I'll do it, man. I'll cut your deal. I'll do it right now. I'm going to club this baby seal unless you buy this custom from me, Tyler.
I'm right there with Joe. Like, I was putting the shelf together, and I was just like so lazy about it. I would just sit there. I'm like, man, I don't want to do this anymore. Like, if I'm getting paid to do something, I am your man. But if I'm not getting paid and I have to just like do something, whatever it is that requires like putting a shelf to mow in the yard, I'm just like, I can't do this, but I have to trudge through it anyway.
Well, see, I was going to pay Joe, but then Joe's like, I'd rather not try to sculpt a figure, of Axel's design. And you're like, I just don't want to do it.
I promise I'll get to that eventually. But Grimbot said,
yeah.
But Grimbot
I
said,
have a sandbox in Florida to sell to you too, Joe.
Right. He said, Grimbot said, did you guys see the live action Sonic movie posters? I think I only seen one, Grimbot.
It looks creepy.
It's weird where I think you just see the feet or like the view from like him, like if he's sitting on top of a bridge, but I only seen his feet or something. Is that one of them?
Yeah, I saw that, and then people were getting pissed off. Oh, so he's saying that people that don't work out are lame. I was like, go to hell, people. Like I remember it was like, so what? Yeah, a character like that runs that fast would have like strong calf muscles and stuff like that.
Oh, well, not only that, but Sonic was always kind of a smart ass, so it makes sense.
Yeah, people are so damn sensitive about shit anymore. And they're like, you know what? Stop bowing down to all this nonsense. You know what? If you don't want, feel bad about it, get your ass in the gym.
I missed all of that. What you're talking about, I think it's because I avoid new news about trailers and things and posters.
It was a teaser poster that was released like 3 or 4 months ago, and there was a backlash because it was just his legs. And it was implying that he has strong legs because he runs so fast. So people were like, oh, so he's shaming people because he's got strong legs. Like, God, you people have had sandy vaginas about everything.
Wait, are you serious?
Like they kind of missed the point about just what the character of Sonic is.
Clearly.
The video game. It's not that. It's just, people...
Wait, I'm confused. Hold on. Real quick, because I'm absolutely confused. But are you saying people really complain because he had strong-looking calf?
Yes.
But don't they realize that he runs like the speed of not the speed of light, but you know what I mean? He's super fast. You're
but
not
Joe, he's not your everyday hedgehog. All right.
My God.
People find the just
holy Jesus.
Yeah, you kind of feel it with this mentality. How the hell is it that people enjoy watching superhero movies or reading comics of all these muscular, heroes and villains and beautiful women? Why aren't they saying, they're not repulsive enough or they're not obese enough? No, I can't support Captain America because he's in shape and I'm not, so therefore he's shaming me. So I think we need like a pudgy, dumpy Captain America.
Captain Lumpy.
Yeah, it's just this mentality of like, what is so wrong with enjoying, do we really want to see Superman with like a big pot belly?
I
Because
just
it's more
think
relatable.
that people need to stop being
It's
serious.
just
Stop being a
comics. It's
bunch of
fantasy.
pussies,
It's
man.
fun.
Like enough's enough.
No, really. I mean,
Joe, we got to make it. We got to make it real.
But that's the thing.
I can't relate
Comics,
to it if it's unrealistic expectations.
well, think of this. Sonic is not a human being, anyways.
Doesn't
But
matter.
not.
Why
But yeah,
can't-
but like
are you saying
comics?
are you saying I can't be a hedgehog, Joe? I am offended
Right.
with this.
I mean, I guess what I'm confused with
Joe
is
relates to
comics,
him 'cause of
cartoons.
it's his hair. I relate to it because of Sonic's hair. And if he's
No,
if
but
he's got
really-
strong legs, I can't relate to that.
Comics, cartoons, any of these fantasy movies, it's always just been a fun escape. My God, I look at all them guys that, like you said, are super muscular. Never made me think, oh God, I'll never be super muscular. Or is this how everybody looks? It's a damn fantasy. It's just fun. Quit taking shit so literal. I mean, if you want real life, watch your reality shows. But Christ, quit thinking.
Yeah.
I don't get it. It's like, yeah, we know this is fantasy. It's fun. It's like, quit taking the fun out of everything. Oh my God, that's nuts. I'm glad I don't look at all this shit you guys are talking about because I'd go nuts.
It's tough. It's hard not to.
Well, Kevin Sharp. Yeah, Kevin Sharp says favorite artist on the Star comics. Did you like it at all? I don't know if he's asking about all the Star Marvel ones. I enjoyed the art on them. I guess I never paid attention to see how many different artists worked on them. I don't know.
I think it was almost like the same artist on a lot of them. But one of my favorite panels was from Snakes Alive, which was the splash page of a snake of King Hiss bursting into snake form attacking Rio Blast, because Rio Blast has a fear of snakes in that book. But I think for the most part, it looked like, I mean, some of them look a little sloppy here and there, like like in the first issue. I mean, like the Horde don't look that good. It's like they're just trying to draw the toys kind of poorly. But those last two issues, the art was really good. Issue number 9, I think, that's got Clamp Champ, Ninja, Blast Attack, Scareglow, Faker. That one looks really good. I can't say the name of the artist though. I honestly can't. Because I'll
be honest, I never looked.
Yeah.
I never looked at the pages where it did mention the artist, but I just known that from the covers to the inside, I enjoyed it all. Unlike sometimes with comics, it's like, hey, that's an amazing cover, and you flip it open, and sometimes the inside art might be shitty. This was,
well,
I just remember back in the day,
the covers for Star Comics, like most of the covers they're pretty badass. Sometimes the interior work gets a little sloppy.
But still good, though. Not to where it detracts to thinking, God, this looks so horrible, I'm not enjoying it. It's still enjoyable. Yeah. But yeah, the covers, usually were more dynamic, colorful, bright, especially on the kind of, the paper, comparing the cover to the inside with that paper, and it's not as glossy or as bright or colorful. But yeah, I enjoyed the inside of the art too. So I don't think I've ever really hated any of the artists that worked on any of those Star Marvels. But thanks for that, Kevin. I never really thought of it until you just said it, and I feel bad that I never looked, and now I'm gonna have to try to see who these artists were.
I'm kind of curious since Kevin's an artist. Tell when he says these guys suck. I'm just.
Wouldn't it be something? Because he's waiting for us to build it up,
I was not aware of this until recently, that Kevin is not that big a fan of the live action movie.
You sure you want him on the podcast then? You sure about this?
Well, no. If I bring him on the podcast, I can roast him live.
Okay, that'll be good. We can do it Jeff Ross style.
That's all right. But I can have him repent for his sins, and he can quote Dragon's Gift 10 times. And I will place my hand upon his forehead. I will forgive him of his sins. You guys
shouldn't Joe be doing that? Because Joe is like the cult leader of all.
Yeah, but that's people want to follow like the life of Burrito. I'm here to encourage and educate the masses up for and remind them that it's foolish to think that way. So we can bring Kevin.
Will
on
you
here
forgive him? You do the forgiveness. I can do the beginning where I could do the nasty Jeff Ross roast, where I could just tear him to pieces, just like Jeff Ross would. Then you'd come in and you could be the savior and forgive him and make him feel all good about all the sins.
I mean, you know what? When you think about it, the live action Master of the Universe movie kind of was the beefcake of 1987. I'm kidding. He's gonna get in his car and come over here.
I swear, I feel like a Mortal Kombat fatality happening live here on YouTube.
I'm joking. I am joking. I was just saying that to be a dick.
Yeah.
Hey, look, Beefcake. I put Beefcake prominently right there. I honestly kind of hope he falls off and one of the dogs chews him up.
Yeah, was justified why he's wearing a face mask. He fell on his face.
Yep.
I enjoyed. I like Beefcake.
He fell on his face.
I like Brutus the Barber Beefcake back then. But well, before I do wrap it up, I'm going to say one last quote from somebody in the chat room. This is from Curtis Ackerman. This will be fun for Tyler to hear. He said, "The live action movie is awful." So, yeah,
how
and,
original! We never heard that
yeah.
one before.
Wait, they strayed too far from the source material.
Well,
Tyler's
there you
gonna be.
go.
I didn't see Orko and Battlecan. There was no transformation. Where was Prince Adam? Where was She-Ra at?
Tyler's gonna be like, Curtis, get out of here.
You know,
He's like, that's it. It's like he's been banned from the chat from every.
I hope that guy is in on the joke and not just one of those guys who's like, well, I thought the movie was lame. And like, okay, you know what? And that's why I would pull like a Three Stooges from like put my grab a hold of his nose and then slap it down.
You know what? It for those people that don't particularly enjoy. I know Joe didn't like it at first. Like I was kind of about it for a little while. I came around to it. Joe came around to it. I would say give it some time. Give it a rewatch. Maybe have a few of these or so.
No. You don't need any damn alcohol to enjoy the movie.
I mean, you don't.
Damn.
But I'm just saying, like, if it can help you, like,
too,
come around to the ideas.
Earlier today, because people like to piss and shit all over Stallone movies and Van Damme movies and stuff like that too, because it's so funny. Everyone thinks they're a damn comedian. They're not funny at all. But people really don't stop and break down why these movies are still so popular, what they got right, why do we enjoy them so much?
Why do they have the lasting power?
Yeah, and the live action movie, all this have come around and said it like, I mean, James Eatock, who said, which I had no idea, he wasn't that big of a fan. He has since, has a great appreciation for the film, especially learning about the behind the scenes stuff too.
I feel like Tyler takes these people and like kidnaps them and then like brainwashes them. It's like, you like the movie now.
If I could,
I like that. Yeah. I'm a good boy.
Yeah,
I like the Masters of the Universe.
Tapes the eyes wide open like that, so they're staring at it.
Clockwork Orange. Yeah.
Just an over and over. And Justin Hume just joined us live. Thank you for joining us. But no, we didn't discuss, and we're not going to discuss the movie news again because I don't care that they said, "Hey, it's filming in Prague." It's filming in Prague. It's like,
oh wow,
yeah,
man! Well, by God, I guess that puts down 20 years of speculation.
Yeah, guys, you see me. I update it every year, and I don't do that to be a smartass. I just do it to show it every year that yes, there's new news. Here's the gift. The meme. Yeah,
well, how can they be like? How can any of this be? They haven't even cast anybody.
The film, yeah.
Well, hey, just let me say something for anybody that is new to the podcast. Like I said, it's not like we're ever knocking. Like I said, it's not that we're ever knocking people when they get excited about. We just want to let you know.
Here we are.
Don't get
don't
get
try
excited.
to pretend like you're trying to candy coat what we're doing here.
Joe,
you put together that Batman slapping Robin for a purpose because you're trying to slap the people on social media.
To kind of let them know.
Wake the hell up, people. All right? How many more times are we going to go through this?
It's been 17. Just to let you guys know, it's been basically 17 years we've been hearing this. Now, when they finally show that it's in production, obviously there's actors that have been cast and we're seeing filming and you see previews, then we'll get excited. But no, we're just letting you know, when you hear this information about it's filming, it's going to start. It's like, we've been hearing this same song and dance for 17 years. And no, it's never happened every time they say it. Would we like it to happen? Yes, but we're not getting excited and we're not going to get talking about the movie until it officially does have a cast of actors and you see filming and then it's going on. Then we'll talk. Otherwise, no, it's just the same thing we've heard for 17 years, and I update that meme every year.
You need to start using the Titanic meme where it's been 84 years.
Yeah,
just start using that one.
Trust me, next year I'm going to update it to 18. It ain't going to happen. Remember how we were promised almost 2 years ago? Guys, it's official. We're getting the movie, and it's coming out December 20th of 2019.
Yeah, 2019. Less
still
than a year,
happening?
People that starts filming this summer.
Yeah,
so
do
we're
you think it's going to happen?
5 months to film, post-production, pre-production, special effects. Oh, yeah, we got to cast the film, too. What are they going to throw out like an RCA camcorder out in Prague?
And Tyler, you remember that 2 years ago? 2 years ago when we said that, we were saying the same thing we're saying now, and a lot of people are like, oh, come on, guys, you got to calm down. Have faith in it. It's like, trust me. And look what's happened. 2 years 2 years later.
All that Billy Jack bullshit,
And that's
look, all this information is out there for people to look at for free.
Yeah,
people don't have the time to put the facts together.
You needed to say that differently than that Billy Jack bullshit. You made it. You just made it like
tired of having to pretend like, well, Billy, little Billy. I did see the news there, and I don't mean to be the bearer of bad news, you moron, but it ain't happening.
So that's our ending note is on that. So let me just say again, we love having you suckers here every week, and we hope you join us here next week because we love the interaction. And if you're new to the channel, make sure you like, subscribe, ring that bell down there. We always say that so you can get notified of new content. But yes, also subscribe to us so you can still always follow us as well. Any new content. And so again, thank you all for being here. And thanks for having Nathan pop up in this last little bit of it. We always having you love having you on too, Nathan. I'm getting exhausted, physically exhausted. So until next time, have a powerful day.
How do you feel? I'm feeling a little hungry.
That's it?
That's it.
Damn it.
That's
I don't know.
how you do a quote, people.
I don't know it, so I'll give 30 seconds to see if people in the chat room know it. And if they don't, then you'll have to give it to us. So far,
I can assure you it's not from episode 85 of New Adventures of He-Man, okay?
Okay. Let's see. Nothing yet. It's been about a 30-second delay. Say it one more time, and I just want to see if something comes up.
How do you feel? I'm feeling a little hungry.
Somebody said, well, Zen Brown said Masters of the Universe? The movie, I guess? Is that what he means?
Yeah.
Huh.
Was that with was that with
like a
Man at
fart
Arms?
church? Both of you guys just sort of, how about that?
Oh, there that is.
Wow,
was that with Man at Arms? Wait, is that with Man at Arms and Gwildor or no? Or I can't remember who said.
He-Man in the music store before the troops attacked the store.
Well, I applaud Zen Brown said Man at Arms. He knew it, so good job on that, man. I had no clue. So see,
yeah, much like anything else.
Jesus God! All right.
I'd be very curious if we ever get around to doing a live action movie commentary, and I quote the movie after we do the commentary. If Joe
we're like,
I'll be so clueless. I have no idea what it is.
I'll be clueless. Like I don't know what it is. Like Joe, you just watched that movie. We just did the commentary for it, and you still don't know it.
That's all right, Joe. I'm there. I'm there with you. Short-term memory.
Whew, it's bad. See you guys.
Nathan's just kind of slouching down deeper and deeper and deeper into his seat because he's been drinking so much.
Hey,
oh, Jesus. Poor Nathan.
Only a little bit. Come on, guys.
Catch him drunk in probably about an hour. I'm sure he'll be playing some games. See you guys next time.
Yeah, maybe. We'll see.
Yeah. All right.